Well, here is the dashboard of an Access database that I made and used, and I'm going to use it to try and demonstrate how to use Access. Now, the first thing I want to do is to look at this dashboard. When I look at it, I have such things as this. I've got a student. These pictures here are of the students. Yes, they are. Now, if you half close your eyes, you can see that this is a photograph of a student. Now, let's go back. There's the student form. There's the attendance of a student, the number of times that a student might come, a map showing the area that a student might have come from, the area in London they might have lived in, and then various details about the student. Now I can move through this, through all of the students, and I've got all this information about them. Alright, if I click onto this, it closes this form and takes us back to the dashboard. Now it's on the dashboard that I can pick up various information. Now if I come to, first of all, if I close the dashboard, databases are made of tables. And so I need to go into tables first of all. Now if I go back to design, there's the design of the table. Now you make tables. Tables are made of records, and records are made of fields. Here you can see the field and the field type. Student name, family name, sex of the student, age, and various other details about the student. You have auto number, the number comes up automatically. Text is fairly obvious. Number for numbers of brothers or sisters, or age. Yes, no. Was it a good experience living in London? Do you have a loyalty card? And then we come to object linked and embedded, which is anything that is some sort of picture. Okay, now once you've designed this, then after that you start to fill it in. Now let me close this, because although you create tables, when you try to put in a lot of information, the best thing to do is to create some sort of form. Now here's a form, alright, where you might put that information in. I wouldn't say that's the most straightforward form I've put in there. Let's close this form and go back to the dashboard, because I've got a number of forms on here. Student attendance form, student details form, student details form here. Let's close that one. What about that one there? Now that's the form that I was using before. You see, I've set it up very clearly. I've been able to take the first name and the family name and link them together. And I can show you how I've done that in some sort of query. Now if you look at this, this again is taking the student photograph And here's the notice there. The students' pictures have been pixelated to prevent your seeing who they are. Okay. Now as I go through here, you can see various information about my invented students. Now I've taken the names, I've changed the names. Alright, so now if I come out of here, what I really want to do is to go into the dashboard. Why the dashboard? Because the dashboard allows me to go into various forms. Student form 2, a loyalty card form. Alright, which students have loyalty cards? And then the information comes up as to which one. If it's got a tick here, you'll see that they have a loyalty card. If the student's name doesn't occur, then obviously they don't have one. Now if we look at students' attendance, this form, which is pulling together attendance, details about the student, it gives the number of days that they've attended. Alright, you'll see some students full attendance, other students less than full. Now you can pull this together onto a report. You see this? Student Wizard report. And as you go through this will bring up the student's name, their attendance, where they're living in London, and so on. So let's go back. You design databases in table. You create a new table, put all your information into there, and then you fill in your information in forms. Although you could fill in some information. If I went back to there, I could put in some information in here. Now, once you've designed your table, you've put in your information, then what you need to do is to ask questions. Now, the way to ask questions is to take the information and put it into a query. Here's a query, and if I then press the run, there you are. But if I said, well, let's go back again. If I said under borough, and I put in that, what would that bring us? It would say only Tim Jones and Charles Queen live in the borough of Lewisham. Let's go back to the question. If I took out the word Lewisham and I wrote Greenwich, Greenwich, and then did that, you'll see that only Diamond Yellow lives in Greenwich. Now if I run it, take that out, and then run it again, I get all of the boroughs. And you can see, now for example here, Albion White, I could put Camden there. Now if I ran that as a question, and under borough I wrote down there Camden, when I run it, I only get album white. Now I can ask various queries. I'll take that out. Alright, let me close the query. Now I've got various queries that I've asked there. Once I've designed my database by using tables, I've filled in my database by using forms from tables, I've asked questions of my database in queries, and then if I want to report my information that I've found in the queries, then I go to report. And what I'll try and do is come out with something like this. Now if you look at that, that's the report that I showed you before, but if I ask the question, there is how I've designed it. Alright, so what have I done? I've picked up the student detail. I've picked up information that I've got from my query, and then I've put it all down into here. I've displayed it in such a way that I can see the information here. And as I go through the report, you can see different students are coming up with different information. Let's go back a little there. I was trying to find my student where I wrote in Camden. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Camden. Let's get to Camden. Here it is, album white, and I wrote in there Camden. Of course that's not what it's pointing to, but that's what I wrote in there. Alright, let me close this down and go back to tables for 1 minute. I needed to use a table to create a dashboard. The dashboard is just a piece of table in order to put something in the background. If I go to forms and I look at the dashboard, there's the dashboard. I created this as a piece of drawing work on top of that dashboard table I used. And after that, I was able to put in various things there. A picture of me, a picture looking academic, various buttons that would mean that if you were coming onto the database, if you were looking at the database, you don't need to go into the tables or queries or forms. All you need to do is to, if you want to see something, you could look at this. This is an attendance query. Alright. Run attendance query. Student attendance details. There they are. Each time I press a button, it takes me into a different place, but I can put in more information if I need. For example, if I come down to here, I could start by putting in information about a new student and all the details there. Alright, student attendance, loyalty, and so on. I can close this form, which takes me back into this area here. One of the things that I have done here is to put an Auto-Exec, automatically execute macro, and when I click onto that, it automatically takes me to here. If I go back again and look at that macro in design, Open form. Maximize the form. Which form? The dashboard form. Now if I run it, it'll take me back to here. Now all of this is working with Access. There is a complete run through of the four things. Tables, queries, forms and reports added to a bonus